is Hebrew Hits, presented by jtriberadio.com. I'm your host, Malya, and I sit down with people who live by the motto, it's what you do with what you have that makes a difference. Welcome to Hebrew Hits. I'm your host, Malya, and I know all of Hebrew Hits episodes air on Thursdays, but tonight I am coming out with a special in honor of the election. Yes, it's Tuesday, but we're having a Tuesday special, an election special where Malya speaks to the public. This is an episode that I've never, ever done before. I reached out to many of you, my amazing listeners who I know listen to my show every week, subscribed, and really give me positive feedback. I reached out to all of you so that you can be a part of this amazing show where I ask you one question. Who do you think is going to win this election, and why do you think that candidate will win the election? Are you ready to hear from the public? Well, let me get the first person on the phone with me so that we can hear the public speak their mind and their opinions. I'm so excited for the show. Thank you again so much for tuning in. The first caller is from Steven. He's calling in all the way from Jerusalem, Israel. So Steven, let's hear what you've got. Who do you think is going to win this election, and why do you think that candidate will win the election?
Well, I believe that Donald Trump will win the election, basically because, first of all, we've all heard Joe Biden speak. I'm sure that even Democrats or liberals, whatever you'd like to call them, left-wing, people who follow more to the left wing, they can look at him and they hear he has no idea what he's talking about. Besides that, I think that we've all seen on the more Republican conservative side how bad the Democratic Party has been this year, and I think the silent majority has now even risen to the silent, extreme majority, and I'm hoping that is true, and I hope Donald Trump wins. That's hopefully, God willing.
Thank you, Stephen, for giving us a call. Well, we are on to caller number 2. This caller, his name is Shai. He is calling in from Yeshiva University right here in, I'm pretty sure that's New York, yeah? Well, Shai, what do you have to say about who is going to win the election, and why do you think this candidate will win the election?
Hi, so I'm going to try not to get my bias involved. I have a clear opinion, but I'm not going to get that involved. But I do think Vice President Biden will win over President Trump. I think it will be close, but I do think Biden will come away with it. And that's because people look at who President Trump is as a person, and it's despicable. And most people, even if they end up voting for Trump, isn't going to say that he is the most amazing, honest guy in the world. But with that being said, I do think people will look at Trump as a person and say, how can he be our president for 4 more years? So therefore, I'm going to go with Vice President Biden, even though people do say he has dementia or whatever he has. But I do still think Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris will come away on top.
Very interesting that you're saying that, because you're basically basing it off of how Trump is as a person, not as who he is as a president. I mean, people would rather a man with dementia, it seems like you're saying, than a man who just isn't so nice, even though he's a fantastic businessman. So that's very interesting. Well, Shai, thank you so much for being a caller on Hebrew Hits today. I got to get to caller number 3. Here is Ben calling in from Lakewood, New Jersey. Hello, Ben. How you doing? Let's hear what you have to say. Who do you think is going to win this election, and why do you think this candidate will win the election?
I have no idea who's going to win these elections because it's all about the swing states, and we have no idea whether there's a silent majority or not. So my answer is no clue.
Yeah, I hear. Listen, talking about swing states, I always wish I live in a swing state because then you never know if it's going to be red or blue. I'm from New York, and I'm hoping New York will turn red tonight. I don't think it's ever happened. Maybe it has, but not since I've been born. Well, let's get on to caller number 4. We have Zezi calling in from Israel. Thank you so much for staying up so late to make sure that you call into Hebrew Hits and answer my question. I hope it's not too late for you. But anyways, let's get you on the call and let's see what you have to say of who you think's going to win and why you think that candidate will win. Zezi, let's hear what you've got to say.
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea who's going to win this election. B'siyata Shmaya Kosh Baruch Hu runs the world. And whoever should. I know who I want to win the election. I know that I want Donald Trump to win the election. But there's, the polls were all wrong last time, and everything was wrong last time. So who really knows who's going to win it? I don't like to predict. That's not something I like to do. I can discuss it from here till tomorrow why Donald Trump, I think, should win. I think that the dangers of a Biden presidency is something that needs to be spoken about, besides for the fact that everyone knows that it's not going to be a Biden presidency, but it will be a Kamala Harris presidency because he will be too unfit to be president. There's been too many signs of dementia and things like that. And it's not just the crazy right-wing media that's been saying it. It's pretty clear that he's got something going on, and they're hiding it for right now because they're waiting to see what happens after this election. And what's going to happen after this election is going to be, if Trump wins, I think the world will be better off for it. I think speaking to somebody recently, he said that the Arab world, in many places, the Palestinians specifically, don't understand politics. They don't understand how to be nice to each other. So you be nice, so I be nice. They understand how to be smacked. You know what I'm saying? They understand if you don't behave, this is how we're going to treat you. And that's how Trump has treated Palestinians. If you don't behave, this is what you're going to get. And that has brought peace in many, 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 many different countries. We see all the different Arab countries, UAE and all the other ones, Bahrain, are coming to the table to make peace with Israel because they realize that's what they need to do in order to be at the table, to make trade and do other things. So it's an interesting topic. Biden is, Ben Shapiro said it best. He said, look at who the terrorists want to win, and that's who you should vote against. The people who are the terrorists want Trump to lose. And if they want Trump to lose, then you better be sure that I want Trump to win, because he's the one who's going to keep things safe. Obviously, he's not the one. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's an interesting topic. But, it's a little too rich for my blood to start making decisions on what's going to happen in the polls. So I wish you good luck.
Funny how you say good luck. I'm starting to feel that we all need luck tonight. I hope that you all went out and voted. And if you did, let me know in the comment section below. DM me either on Instagram at Hebrew_hits, and Facebook at Hebrew_hits. Follow me on LinkedIn, Malya Feivelson. Follow my hashtag the Malya Cam. Again, you're listening to Hebrew Hits. And tonight I'm taking phone calls from my listeners, finding out who you think is going to win this election and why you think that candidate will win. Again, this episode is called Malya Speaks to the Public. Let's get on to our next caller. Here is Uzi calling in from New York. What have you got to say?
Hi, Malya. So I'm not going to say who I think is winning the presidency because obviously we all hope for Trump to win, but we don't really know. There's so much confusion and so much fake news that we don't know. And, I'm trying not to get my hopes high. This, for me, is like the Super Bowl. This is my Super Bowl. Some people were saying, I don't want to get my hopes high. We were, Baruch Hashem, in 2016, the world was shocked that he won. And I hope, he wins. I hope he wins again. But, hopefully we won't be shocked the other way.
I'll tell you one thing. 4 years ago, I definitely thought Hillary Clinton was winning. I was completely shocked when I woke up the next morning and I saw that Donald Trump won. So anything is possible here. I really don't know. Listen, my gut feeling is telling me Trump's winning, but then sometimes I think that Joe Biden might just win. Who knows? I really have no idea. Well, I've got another caller on the line. Thank you, Uzi, so much for calling in to Hebrew Hits. Here is Devora. She is calling in from Bayswater. What do you have to say, Devora? Who do you think is going to win tonight? And why do you think this candidate will win?
Hey, so honestly, at this point, I have no clue who's going to win. But I do think if it was an honest election, Donald Trump would win, but because this election is not honest and people are not being like transparent and there's a lot of fraud going on, I think it's giving the other side a higher chance of winning. So at this point, I don't know, but I do dive in that Trump wins again.
Devora, that is one of my concerns as well. I am just unsure if it's a rigged election. That's what I'm saying. If it was not rigged, Trump would win by a landslide. But as you see, they have thrown out ballots already that had Trump's name on it. Who knows what they're doing, if they're even going to read the votes that have been mailed in with Trump's name, or if they are going to make up some names of that Biden has had. And I've also seen, which I don't even know if it's completely true, but I have seen that people are registering people who have already passed away. They're registering them to vote and they're letting them vote. This happened by John F. Kennedy. When John F. Kennedy was running for president, this exact same thing happened. They went to the graves and they registered people who were not alive. And those people voted. That is how JFK got elected. Now, I'm completely unsure what's going to happen. I really hope it's an honest election. Well, Devora, thank you so much for calling in tonight. Let's get on to our next caller. Who do we have next? Oh, great. We have got right now Asher Lob on the phone. Asher, how are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. What have you got to say? Who do you think is going to win the election, and why do you think they are going to win the election?
I think Biden and Harris are likely going to win, maybe just because the polls are indicating that, but I'm really not 100% sure.
Well, Asher, if we're lucky, we'll find out tonight. If not, we will have to wait. I don't know how long to find out who is president. Well, coming up on our next phone call, we've got a caller calling in from Brooklyn. Here is Sarla. Sarla, what do you have to say? Who do you think is going to win the election? And why do you think this candidate is going to win?
I think Trump's going to win. Hopefully he will, because he's, good for the Jewish people.
Wow, with the people calling in, I feel like it's literally 50-50. We just had Asher Lob thinking Biden and Harris are going to win. Now Sarla from Brooklyn thinks Trump is going to win. Who knows what will happen? Again, right now you are listening to Malya Speaks to the Public right here on Hebrew Hits. Go follow us on Instagram at Hebrew_hits and on Facebook at Hebrew_hits. Follow me where I give you amazing good content on LinkedIn, Malya Feivelson, and go follow us on our YouTube channel, which is HebrewHitsRadio.com. Go check it out on YouTube. We have every single episode posted there. We right now, Malya Speaks to the Public. What am I doing? I am taking phone calls and I'm hearing what the public has to say about the election, who the public thinks is going to win. Our next caller is ready. It is Amram calling from Jerusalem, Israel. Wow, Amram, thank you so much for staying up so late tonight. What do you have to say? Who do you think is going to win? And why do you think this candidate will win?
Well, the way it works, the way it seems so far in Israel, from all the news, all the polls and everything you see around, it seems like basically Donald Trump is not going to make it, and maybe Biden is going to take it. But either way, once I was thinking, if Donald Trump loses, I will vote for him to come to be the Prime Minister of Israel. And he's going to make Israel great again. And bottom line, the one who is going to win is the one Hashem wants him to win. And the one that's going to be the best thing for bringing Mashiach and for the Klal Israel. So if it's going to be Biden, it's going to take everything down. That's going to be the reason, the end of the beginning of the end. And if it's going to be Donald, then they will continue the way it continued already, and make America great again, and hopefully make Israel great again.
I love how you say that, make Israel great again. Well, if he does not win in America, we know that President Donald Trump is welcomed in Israel. The Israelis are speaking it for themselves. Well, Amram, thank you so much for being here tonight with me on Hebrew Hits. Let's get to the next caller. Surprisingly, the next caller is actually calling from the hospital. She's a nurse. She took a few seconds to give Hebrew Hits a call. Thank you so much for taking your time to do so. Her name is Yael. She's working in a hospital, and she is going to tell us who she thinks is going to win the presidential election and why she thinks they are going to win. So, Yael, welcome to Hebrew Hits. What do you have to say?
I think Nana is going to win the election because she has so far gotten 3 votes, which is a lot.
Not sure who Nana is, but surprisingly, I call my grandmother Nana. So maybe this caller knew that and is just trying to say that she thinks my grandmother will win. Well, let's get on to the next caller because I'm not exactly sure what that was. Well, the next caller is Sam. He is calling in from Muncie. Sam, welcome to the show. Who do you think is going to win the presidential election? And why do you think this candidate will win?
Hi, I think President Trump is going to win because the left is pushing everyone to vote, which will make a lot more Republicans and Trump supporters or people who haven't even voted in the past for Trump to go out and vote for Trump. So I think the push from the left is actually helping the right as well, and therefore President Trump will take the victory.
I honestly think that's also what happened in 2016 when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton. The entire left and Democratic Party thought that Hillary Clinton was 99% winning. I thought for sure Hillary Clinton was winning. So what did I do? I made sure I was registered to vote and I went out and I voted. And I think that is why, I think that's a big reason why Trump actually won in 2016 is because everyone really thought Hillary was winning and they didn't want her. So everybody who is pro-Trump made sure they got their vote in, and I think the same thing is happening right now. But again, I honestly do not know who's going to win. Again, my gut feeling is that Trump is going to win unless the election is rigged. If the election is rigged, I do not know what is going to be. Well, Sam, thank you so much for calling into Hebrew Hits. Let's get on to our next caller. Wow, we have another person calling in from Israel. I cannot believe how many people are up right now in Israel calling in to Hebrew Hits Radio. Thank you so much. Ruchama is calling in from Telstone, all the way from Telstone. How are you doing tonight? And who do you think is going to win the election? And why do you think this candidate will win?
I honestly do think that Joe Biden would win. However, I do believe that Trump has a lot of power and he could make another election, go to court or do whatever, and be the next president.
Ruchama, first off, thank you so much for calling into Hebrew Hits on the episode that Malya speaks to the public. I really appreciate it. I know you sound really tired, but at the end of the day, you stayed up to call into this radio show. So I thank you for that. But on another note, I don't feel like Trump is going to go and if he loses, try to use his power to become president again. I honestly think that he is going to actually find out the facts. And if he realizes that he loses, honestly, he's going to lose and he's going to, he's going to deal with it. But if he finds that it was a rigged election, yes, he will use his power to make a big deal and show everybody that it was a rigged election. But if he does lose, I think that he is an honorable man, that he will say, okay, I lost, and that's it. But again, we're going to have to see what happens tonight. Well, let's get on to our next caller. Our next caller is Sarifka from Far Rockaway. Thank you so much for tuning in and for calling into Hebrew Hits Radio tonight. I can't believe we've got someone from Israel, we've got people from Far Rockaway, from Muncie, from Brooklyn, from all over. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, Sarifka, who do you think is going to win the election, and why do you think this candidate will win the election?
Honestly, I would think during a time of such unrest and because of the pandemic, and the other side of the party would win. So I would say that Joe Biden would win because that's what usually happens when things aren't going well. However, in this case, since Joe Biden is a weak candidate, and Trump is better for the economy, I think that Trump has a pretty good chance.
Listen, it's good to hear. A lot of people are saying it's Biden. A lot of people are saying it's Trump. So that's why Malya is speaking to the public. Thank you so much, Sarifka, for calling into this episode of Hebrew Hits Radio. I'm so excited to share the opinions of the people. Well, right now, I have got Shmuel on the phone. He is from Colorado. He is calling in to tell me who he thinks will win the presidential election and why he thinks that candidate will win.
I have no idea. I am not giving you any opinions or predictions because I don't know. The only prediction I will give you is Trump is winning Pennsylvania and Florida. He will win Pennsylvania and Florida. Whether he'll win the Electoral College or not, I don't know. But he'll definitely win Pennsylvania and Florida.
Well, Shmuel, thank you so much for calling into Hebrew Hits Radio. Let's see if he wins Pennsylvania and Florida. If he does, maybe I'll give you a call back. I just want to put out there, thank you so much for all the callers that have been staying online this entire episode. I really appreciate you guys holding on, waiting for your turn. Well, right now I have got Chaim waiting online. Thank you so much. He is calling in from Arizona. How you doing tonight? Let me know what you think. So, tell me, Chaim, who do you think is going to win this election? And why do you think this candidate will win?
See, how I see it is the information is already in my head. Why? What I click, what they show me, what is put in front of me, who I talk to has already shaped who I think is going to win. Who I want, who I hope could be different. But who I think is what I am showed, what I click on my computer, what the internet feeds me. I think it's really important for us to understand that. And where we live could be could be what is being fed to us, the reason why it's being fed to us. So how I see it is President Trump is going to win. That could be because of the videos I click or where I live or who I speak to, and therefore what I want to watch after, what people send me, because it's all on the internet. So what it looks like, President Trump's going to win. But I'm sure if you speak to somebody else who has different friends or lives somewhere else who's interested in different things, they will see that Vice President Biden will win. I think it all has to do with what you see, and that's my opinion.
Thank you, Chaim, for calling into Hebrew Hits. Before I take the last few calls, I want to put my mother on the line. She is in the studio with me right now. So I'm going to ask you, Mother, who do you think is going to win the election? And why do you specifically think this candidate is going to win?
Well, Malya, it is so great what you're doing, and you're taking everyone's opinions. I love it. I really think that Trump is going to win. And the reason I think it is because everyone who wants to vote for Trump really, really passionately wants him to win. And it seems like we don't have any other choice. Biden as a president is a non-president. So we need Trump so badly. So I think he's going to win.
I love what you're saying, and it's so amazing having you in the studio with me. While I'm taking calls, my mom has been sitting here the entire time listening to the episode. She's heard all the call-ins, and I just knew she wanted to be on the show. I had to put her on the air. So, Ma, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. It's such a pleasure. I'm going to start taking some more phone calls. We have got Sarah from Cedarhurst calling into Hebrew Hits. Sarah, welcome to the show. What have you got to say on this topic?
I think that Trump is going to win because he has already done so much for our country for the past 4 years. And people realize this, and they're going to vote for him.
Thank you, Sarah from Cedarhurst, for calling in to Hebrew Hits Radio. We have got a non-American on the phone. This man is from England or Manchester. I don't know, but he's British. He's not American, and he wants to share his thoughts. David, take it away. What have you got to say about the presidential election?
Okay, my predictions are very straightforward and simple. I believe Trump is going to win by a landslide and is going to win the majority vote as well. Given that said, I'm skeptical a little bit. There is a slight chance, I believe there's a possibility, however crazy it sounds, that Trump could turn New York red this time running, especially after what's gone on in New York over the past year. Given that said, I'm going to break it down very simple terms why I think this is the way it is. I believe anyone that voted for Trump in 2016, in my humble opinion, was taking a gamble, okay? They had no idea what this could turn out to be. This could go crazy, especially the way the media painted it and everything like that. I believe looking back 4 years later, anyone that took that gamble was exceptionally happy with the results. I don't believe there's anyone, I literally believe 95% of his base are staying with him. I don't believe there's more than 5% of the audience that said, you know what, I thought he was going to do this and he didn't end up doing it. So that's that. Now, if he keeps 95% of his audience, then my predictions are based on the uptick in voters from African Americans, from Latinas, from Hispanics that we're seeing in the polls, however crazy these polls seem to be, I believe he's going to be winning by the majority because he was only off by about 2.6 million or something like that in 2016. And if they're saying these predictions are correct, that he won 8% of the black vote in 2016, and now the polls are saying he's going to hopefully win 14 to 15%, especially from the Latino vote, which was at 20, which should be going up to 40. We're seeing a landslide victory, and for the majority and for the Electoral College. That's my theory.
Thank you, David, for sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate you calling in today.
Let's just pray and hope I'm right.
Well, it definitely does amaze me as well that so many people were praying. They went to the Ohel, they went to the Kosel. It's awesome to see that the rabbi said, daven for Trump, go vote for Trump, and people are actually putting in their effort. So that is really awesome. We have got about 2 to 3 more callers left. Let's get to the next caller. Here is Dina calling from New York City. How are you doing today? Welcome to the show. What have you got to say about the presidential election?
I think Trump is going to win because I feel a lot of positive energy in that direction. But I really, 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 really hope that Trump wins.
May the best man win. Does that work for this? Or is it really if it's a fair election? Does a fair election win? Listen, if it was a fair election, then we would say may the best man win. But who knows what's going to be? I'm really nervous. That is definitely what is going on right now in my mind. We do not know if it is a fair election. Well, I have got 2 more callers. Here is Shimmy from Denver calling in. What have you got to say about the election?
Yeah, so I think Trump will be winning the election because as much as we see all the, liberals doing their crazy stuff, at a certain point, I believe that the Americans will realize that Joe Biden is a incompetent and delusional person with dementia, and he has no way at all will he be able to run a country.
For the last caller of the night, we have got a guy who does not want to say where he is from, and he does not want to say his name either. What have you got to say about the presidential election? Do you know who's going to win? Or do you think you know who's going to win? And why do you think this candidate is going to win? And if you're not sure who is going to win, let me know any thoughts you have about this election.
I think Trump will carry Pennsylvania. Arizona looks like it's trending towards Biden. Trump really looks like he has an excellent shot at getting the second seat in Maine and as well as Florida. That should give him 269 for Trump and 269 for Biden.
Well, thank you for tuning in. I am not sure your name. I don't know where you're from, so you are basically the mystery man of the night. Thank you so much to all of my amazing participants who have called in, stayed on the line. I know it was late for some of you. You were in Israel. Some of you were in Muncie, Arizona, New York, New Jersey, Brooklyn, all over the place. And I really appreciate every single person who called in. Again, I'm your host, Malya. You're listening to Hebrew Hits. This is a special episode where Malya speaks to the public. Here are the opinions. Let me know in the comments. Leave a rating how this episode was. And please go follow Hebrew Hits on YouTube at Hebrew Hits Radio. Go follow us on Instagram at Hebrew_Hits and on Facebook at Hebrew_Hits. And you can follow me on LinkedIn at Malya Feivelson. Stay tuned. This Thursday, I am having David Perlman on the show. Have a great night. May the best man win. And may God bless the United States of America.